What's up, nature lovers? This is Skillet with Surrounded by Nature, SD, where nature is a lifestyle. Today, we're in San Marcos, California, at Botanic Wonders, where they specialize in unique and unusual plants that we're going to refer to as pachyforms, coined by my friend and mentor, Philippe de Beaujolais. Let's go. Alright guys, here we are with Anthony from Botanic Wonders, and we are going to go over the incredible world of what we're going to refer to as pachyforms. We're going to start with what I would refer to as the most fabulous tree in the world for display in bonsai.
That's right.
This is Operculicaria decarii. Anthony, tell us a little about what makes this tree so special.
Yeah, so this comes from Madagascar. Kind of cool. I do run a succulent nursery now. Skillet gave me a seedling of these years ago. I worked with him at a reptile store, and I was instantly hooked. So in looking for that plant, I found my business partner now, Al, and he was the main one growing these. In my opinion, grows the best ones. So now I'm a part of that. And what makes them so good that he does or has done over the years is, if you see the trunk, how knobby it is, he's actually selectively bred for that. So the seed parents of this plant had that genetics, and he's crossed those and then taken those offspring, crossed those. And now we get a super warty trunk pretty consistently. So if you buy any of our seedlings, there's a good chance that you're going to get that wood.
To cross those, do you need a male and female?
So you do. You need a male and a female plant. They can take up to 10, 15 years to bloom, and about 1 in 10 is a female. So most of them are going to be male. So if you buy 10 seedlings, grow them all up for 10 years, you might get a female if you're lucky.
Amazing.
Which is kind of what makes it cool. Is the way I used to do it is every time I'd go to a nursery, I'd buy 2 or 3. They're usually like $15. And then over the course of 10 years, as they get bigger, they start to bloom, and then you cull out the females. And that's how you're able to produce your own seed.
Now, this is obviously in a bonsai form, right? But people don't necessarily refer to this as such of a bonsai. And part of the reason is, for our viewers that might not know, what makes this unique in the sense of watering with something like this?
So a standard bonsai like a juniper, you're watering almost every day, right? In a short pot, constant water. These are once a week, and the tree's totally happy. If you forget, you go on vacation for like 2 weeks, and you leave it, worst case scenario, it drops its leaves. When you get back and water it again, within a week or 2, it comes right back. So hard to kill.
How old is a tree like this?
So this one's like 25, 30 years. And again, that's hard grown, what we call hard grown. So that means full sun, minimal water, again, once a week watering, and minimal fertilizer. So that way we're not like pumping the plant to grow really fast. If you do that, you're going to get really long branching. The trunk's not going to be as gnarly. So we grow them really slow, and that's why it takes so long. If you were just to put the plant in a big pot, I mean, it'll be 6 feet tall in a couple years, right? But this one's only maybe 24 inches tall over 20, 30 years. And again, that's just slow growing.
For our viewers that might not know also, okay, so what are these trees referred to scientifically where we're taking this word pachyforms?
Right.
What is this?
Right. So this is a pachycol tree, which means that basically thick foot is like what pachycol is. So you see these are actually the roots here. Now the plant was originally planted like this. This would all be under the soil. And the roots are actually like a smooth brown color. And then when we raise it to the air, it'll start to, over time, take on the same texture as the trunk, which is what makes them so cool. Like in bonsai, we call this nabari, and these will just kind of naturally have it. They swell under the soil, you raise it up, and then it'll take on the trunk, and it looks like part of the trunk.
Now, something I find very cool is that even as a seedling, these are amazing.
Perfect little tree right
now. And I know Botanic Wonders has seedlings available pretty much
all
constantly.
That's the main plant we grow.
I think if you're going to get into the hobby and you want something tree form, this is the way to start, right? For beginners and experts alike.
Yep.
I could have 100 of these, train them in different forms, and honestly, not have enough of them.
Still my favorite plant. We grow hundreds of different species. That's the one. If I had to only have one species, this would be the one.
And I was given my first one by my friend and mentor, Philippe de Beaujolais, who is the author of this book that you can also get, which is a great book that's going to give you a ton of information if you want to get into growing pachyforms and learning how to display them. So, again, a pachycol tree, okay, part of this word pachyforms.
That's right.
So, let's move on to one more, and let's show one more of, let's do this Bracera phageroides, which, again, is right up there at the top of the list, okay? Yeah. So, from Madagascar, Operculicaria decarii.
That's right.
Bracera phageroides from?
Mexico, so Baja California. coastal influence, right? So it's going to be growing usually on cliff sides where the ocean is coming in, constantly getting windswept, really hot. They are deciduous, so they will go dormant in usually around September for us, and which is kind of a cool time because you really get to see the ramification of the tree.
Ramification meaning in the way he's going to prune the tree to give
Right.
it the look we're going to try to maintain.
Right,
That's
like
the
a branching structure.
That is the bonsai techniques we're going to apply to this.
And we've got a little seedling here just to show you kind of, this is how they start. And again, even as a small seedling, you can see this is probably 3 years old from seed.
With stout proportions already.
And that's what's so cool and makes them so perfect for bonsai is you get a fat trunk right away and it's fairly proportionate with the tree. I mean, you could put that in a bonsai pot. Maybe you wire it a little bit, give it a little movement, and that's already a cool tree.
It is 100% a cool tree.
And then over time, obviously, you can pot them up. Again, I like to grow them slow, so constantly keeping them pot bound until we're ready to stage them, and then constantly topping them. That's how I'm able to get this fat trunk, but with the short proportions. And again, if you put this in the ground, this would be a full tree. So we're dwarfing it.
Bonsai techniques to give it this fat, gnarled trunk, right?
Yep.
With this peeling bark, which is again one of the unique characteristics of it.
Totally.
And tell me a little bit about that leaf, something about the leaf that's unique.
Yeah, it's a fairly small leaf. They will get smaller and more sun. So the more light you can give it, the smaller the leaves come out, which in bonsai, we're always trying to get, again, proportions, right? Trying to make a small tree look big. So more sun, you'll get much smaller leaflets, which then just kind of adds to like the charm of the bonsai.
They also hold a fragrance, no?
They do. So this is in the frankincense family, Burseraceae. And they actually call this Mexican frankincense. So it's copal.
The true frankincense is
that'd be
Boswellia
sacra, which is from like Yemen, kind of Africa, Middle East.
A whole other subject we'll get into.
That's right. But they're super aromatic, and when you cut them, you'll notice they'll ooze like a sticky sap. And the native people would actually take that, dry it, and then they would burn it like incense. So same kind of thing as like frankincense.
Again, such an amazing tree. One of my favorites.
Very cool.
All right, let's show them now a caudiciform, which is the second part of our word pachyforms. Let's Phocaea edulis, right?
Yeah, Phocaea edulis or crispa. Arguably the same plant. We could get into that in another video, but this one we actually took 2 seedlings and put them together, and then they were growing again under the soil and then slowly raised. So they almost look like they're like hugging or kind of growing into each other.
A very forgiving plant, right? I think if you're just getting into the hobby again, I think this is one that you jump onto because there's just, you pretty much aren't going to kill this tree. This is going to live for you for an extremely long time.
Yeah.
And something unique about these caudiciforms is what we're looking at is this body of the tree, right?
Yep.
That we would be growing underground, right? And every year we can take it and expose it and see what it looks like until we come up with a final form that we think in horticulture we want to raise and display, correct?
That's right, yeah. So we call this a caudex. I don't know if we went over that, but again, just like with the pachycalls, they are storing water in their thick roots and trunk. The caudiciforms are going to be storing in the caudex, which is essentially like a modified root system where it's going to swell up and hold water. So if the plant doesn't get water for a long time, it's going to be fine.
We could refer to it as like the camel of the plant world.
Totally,
right?
that's a good way to put it.
Yep. Very, very cool. And so this grows like a vine, right?
Right, you can kind of see here. And then to maintain the tree shape, we're constantly pruning them. If you just let it go, it's pretty cool too. I've seen people take driftwood and train it up the driftwood. Almost looks like a dead tree, like the vine's taking over a dead tree.
The bonsai principle, though, is you trim it, right? The tree wants to grow up, and by trimming it, you're forcing energy back into the trunk, which over time is giving you a fatter and fatter base, which is a lot of what you're looking for in this trade.
That's right, that's right. And this is a caudiciform. Here's a little seedling. This is like a good, like he said, intro caudiciform. So if you were to get into, want to get into caudex plants, Phocaea is a hard one to not go with.
Again, you see the base is buried, right?
Right, yeah. And again, so another thing we didn't mention too, we leave these buried as long as possible. Once you expose them, they're going to slow down a lot, right? So this would be something, if I'm trying to get this, I might put it in like a 6-inch pot next, but leave it buried. And then everything that's buried is going to continue to get bigger. Once we raise them, they slow down a lot. There's not as many feeder roots. So the plant tends to kind of stay more that size.
And I think part of the fun with these caudex plants is just unburying it and getting to see what it looks like, and then repot it or display it when it meets your need.
You never know what's under there, which is kind of cool.
Let's go on to something very unique. Let's show them this tortoise plant, right? Is what they would call it.
This is one that just blows people's minds. Literally looks like a tortoise shell. I get asked a lot at shows if this is a plant even when it doesn't have its vine because it just looks so fake.
So this is Discoria elephantips?
Elephantiepes,
Elephantiepes.
Yep. That's from South Africa. There's a few different species of Dioscorea. I think Elephantippus is the coolest one, much more tortoiseshell-like. And this is a little seedling here. So this is about a 4 to 5 year old seedling that we grew from seed.
Amazing.
And then on the seed growing, so Operculocaria is about 1 in 10 is a female. On Dioscorea, it's about 1 in 20. So you could buy 20 seedlings, grow them up, and you might get one female in there. They're very male heavy.
So just to go back, 5 years from
That's
seed?
4 to 5 years from seed.
So amazing. Look at the work put into something like this. And if I wanted to start with something this size, how much would something like this run me?
Yeah, it kind of depends just on the market and how many we have, how much we're producing,
Availability.
like that. Yeah, right now these guys are around $50 for that size plant, and you're getting a little bit bigger than a golf ball.
That's $10 a year.
And exactly right. You're buying years basically. I always tell people too, if this is your first one, I would go with something a little bigger. Once they hit this size, they start to really crank and put on size.
Yeah,
So
and they're
at
less
that point,
sturdy. Are seedlings a little more sensitive? Would you?
I would say so. Yeah. The bigger the plant, the more water storage, the more roots it has. It's going to be a little easier.
And I would say something too, when you're in this hobby, your age might determine something. I mean, as you get older, you might, like me, want to jump into something bigger if I want a specimen.
Right.
If you got a lot of time and you're younger, you can start a collection off with seedlings, and you got plenty of time to grow big specimens.
Yep.
I mean, so this Dioscorea is just amazing. I mean, the size of it.
It's another plant. Everyone's different. So when you grow them, this one's a little more asymmetrical. Sometimes they're a perfect symmetry, looks just like a tortoiseshell, and everything in between.
We'll refer to that as living art.
Yeah, for sure.
Why don't you show us this ficus, right?
Yeah.
So everybody knows what a ficus is, but this is not your common everyday ficus. This
Right.
is something very unique.
So again, forms of codex, right? So it's going to be more arid.
Ficus petiolaris.
This is Ficus petiolaris.
with
Yes.
the really beautiful leaves.
Yep, we get another one called Ficus palmeri, which is, again, arguably the same plant, but the leaf is all green. And the codex is slightly different. I think they're very different plants, but same care, same kind of habits and stuff.
So this is very cool because, again, we're looking at the whole codex of it, and you're just getting this tree form out of it with these gnarly roots. I mean, look at
It's almost got like
pottery
bubbles.
is displayed in. So this is a pretty unique conversation piece, right? For anyone that's into horticulture, into the plant world, I think there's a lot of people that don't know about this. So I'm really happy to be here with Anthony and him sharing this knowledge with you guys. Right? Again, check out this book, Pachyforms. You can find this on his website. I mean, this will give you a lot of information getting into this whole world. So Ficus petiolaris.
That's right.
Out of Mexico.
That's right. And just one other thing to add, a lot of people are always looking for like indoor plants. This is one that works very well indoor. It doesn't need as much light as a lot of other stuff. So if you have a really bright room, if you have a plant light or something like that, it's going to crank no problem.
And again, everything we've showed you today is a drought-resistant plant. So this is something that people who are worried about watering plants again, this is a great way to go.
Right.
Why don't we show them a couple more specimens?
That's a good representation of a fat plant.
Jute?
This is jute. Yep.
Namibian grape tree, they call it?
I think something like that, yeah. It's grape family. The grapes are not edible. I've actually heard they're very poisonous, but it's kind of a cool, when it blooms, it'll have these hanging bright red grapes. So ornamentally, it just is kind of a cool feature. Really thick, succulent leaves. They're almost like leathery.
Yeah, and the body of this thing. I mean, this is very alien-like. So again, a lot of us in this hobby will refer to all these as very much alien plants, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, it's like walking into a whole new world. When we're done, we're going to do a quick little cinematic, and we're going to let you see a bunch of the stuff inside, right? Again, thanks to Anthony from Botanic Wonders for taking all this time to show us this stuff. Let's end it with this, and let's go over this Pachypodium and anything else you want to kind of tell us.
So this is a cool one. You'll actually find these at Home Depot occasionally. This is a slightly different form than you would normally find. This is Lameri ramosum. It just has a little bit thicker spine, and they tend to branch sooner. This one's unusual because it branched really low, which they don't normally do, and that was probably it got damaged at some point, and so it caused it to branch a bunch. We actually will do that intentionally sometimes too, where I'll just damage the growth point. So like if this was the plant here, this is the growth point, I'll literally take a knife and I'll just cut out that top little meristem.
And what will that do?
So that'll make it branch, right? So when we damage that, the plant's like, oh no, I can't grow there anymore. It's going to put out more shoots to try to recover the energy. So more leaves, right? It's going to grow faster.
And for bonsai, that's going to give it an aged and unique appearance.
Exactly, yeah.
So this can be grown, basically. You'll see this as a landscape tree, especially here in Southern California.
Yeah. And they'll be 10 feet tall, big fat base, and they'll branch
Still
just
very
a little at
cool.
the top. Super cool.
But to put it into the small pot, that you can just carry around like that is
Right.
very unique.
And this is probably a 15-year-old plant or so.
So again, thanks so much to my friend
Absolutely.
Anthony from Botanic Wonders. Okay, follow them at Botanic Wonders. Pachyform's a great book if you want to get into this hobby, written by my friend and mentor, Philippe de Beaujolais, the guy that gave me my first Opercularicaria ducarii. I hope you enjoyed our tour of Botanic Wonders. Again, check them out at botanicwonders.com for all of your alien plants. Again, this is Skillet with Surrounded by Nature SD, where nature is a lifestyle. Like, subscribe, all that jazz. Follow us for more nature-related content. Thanks a lot.